Okay, evaluate and simplify algebraic expressions. First, some vocabulary. Numerical expression, that's just like a number, exactly. 2, 3, 7, 342. We have powers, which contain an exponent and a base. Those are your properties, or just a couple of characteristics of exponents and powers. Your order of operations. PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide from left to right, and then add and subtract from left to right. You're going to always do those in that order unless you're solving, and then you work in reverse. Evaluating an exponent. Here I've got negative 2 to the 6th or negative 2 to the 6th. What's the difference between these two numbers? Well, one's in parentheses, one's not in parentheses. Okay, this is going to equal the negative of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 6 times. Okay, the negative of that. Where this one equals negative 2 times 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 negative 2. Okay. Now, granted, you can put these into your calculator and get the answer. This one's going to be negative 64. This one's going to be positive 64. If you were given this problem, the negative 2 in parentheses to the 6th power, and you did not use the parentheses in the calculator, you would get this answer, because the calculator takes negative, it'll do 2 to the 6th, and then the negative of that. Here, it's going to take negative 2 times itself 6 times. Okay, so there's the difference there. This is a big error I often see people making. Okay, so I'm doing this example now to kind of prevent you from making that mistake. Variables with algebraic expressions. Okay, the variable, you know what a variable is. It represents a number. We're going to evaluate. Okay, when we evaluate, that means take this number, x equals 6, plug it in for x, and do the math. So this is going to be 5 times 6 times 6 minus 2. Okay, following your order of operations, you do what's in parentheses first. So 5 times 6, 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay. Now, here you can multiply in any order. If you wanted to do the 6 times 4 first and then multiply that by 5, you could. If you wanted to take 5 times 4 and multiply that by 6, you can. Okay, or you can just punch it into your calculator. But 5 times 4 is 20. 20 times 6 is 120. Okay, done in my head. Okay, if you should know some of your times tables. You should just know those. Okay, next one. 3y squared minus 4y when y equals negative 2. Okay, so this is 3 times negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 2. Parentheses exponents. Well, here, the parentheses here is just representing multiplication, so we're not going to deal with that yet. But here we have an exponent, so this is going to be 3 times 4 minus 4 times negative 2. Now multiply, we've got 3 times 4, which is 12. Now, negative 4 times negative 2 is going to become plus 8, which is 20. Okay, here's a story problem. I've just put highlights up here. This one, you are selling fresh squeezed lemonade for $2.50 per glass. You spend $180 to rent a stand, buy ingredients and supplies. Write an expression that shows the profit from selling G glasses of lemonade. Then find the profit from selling 268 glasses. Okay, profit is how much money you have after you have paid for your expenses. Okay, So we're going to write the expression for profit. We're selling the glasses for $2.50. So it's going to be 250 G. Now that is how much income we get, but we've got to subtract out the expenses, and that's going to give us our profit. Okay. Now we're going to use this to calculate the profit. So $2.50 times 268 minus 180. Okay, this I have no problem with you grabbing your calculator and using it. 2.5 times 268 minus 180, $490. Okay, simplifying more expressions. We've got terms. There are two types of terms. We've got variable terms and we have constant terms. We're going to see those in the examples. Here's a couple examples of variable terms, constant terms. Okay. Terms are separated by addition and subtraction symbols. Coefficients are numbers being multiplied to variables. Okay, 15 is a coefficient, 9 is a coefficient, 15m is a term, 9m is a term. Okay, coefficients are multiplied, sometimes division if it's 1 over something or if it's m over 9. Then your terms are going to be separated by addition and subtraction. Okay, let's simplify these. 15m minus 9m is 6m. Gotta give you an easy one now and then. Now we're going to distribute. Here is the distributive property. We're going to say 8 times x and 8 times negative 3. So it's 8x minus 24. This one gets a little tricky. Okay, if we're dropping the parentheses, you could use the definition of subtraction and make this plus the negative. That might be helpful. So negative 2 times x becomes plus negative 2x. Negative 2 times 6 becomes plus negative 12. Okay, you could also make this plus negative using your definition of subtraction. Do you have to do it this way? No. But I don't want you to mess up and forget about this negative here when you're distributing. Okay, so 8x minus 2x is 6x. Negative 24 plus negative 12 is negative 36 or minus 36. Okay. Here's another story problem. This one's about DVD sales. We've got brand A. Okay. Yesterday, a store sold 60 recordable DVDs. Brand A sells for $15 each. Brand B sells for $12 each. Write and simplify an expression that represents the store's total income for the DVD sales yesterday. If X represents the number of brand A DVDs sold. Then find the total income if 38 of the DVDs sold were brand A. Alright, so we got two things. We're going to write an expression and simplify it. If X is the number of brand A DVDs sold. Okay, there were 60 DVDs sold altogether. So, X is brand A. How can we represent brand B? Well, A and B are the only DVDs sold. If 60 was the total, then 60 minus X is the number of brand B sold. Okay, so the expression for the income, this is not profit, this is income, is going to be, let's see, A is X, so 15 times X plus 12, because brand B is $12, times 60 minus X. That's going to be your total income. Now we need to simplify that by using the distributive property and combining like terms. So this is going to be 15X plus 12 times 60. And then combine your like terms, your 15X and your 12X. So this is 3X plus 720. That is the simplified expression. Now, what's the total income if 38 DVDs are brand A? Well, X represents brand A, so we plug it in. The total income is going to be 3 times 38 plus 720. And I don't mind one bit, like I said. Total income is $834. Okay, now this one's a little different. I do want you to get a little bit of a head start. I said once in a while I would assign some problems for you to do at home. I want you to do page 13, 14, these problems at home, and then these problems we will do in class. Okay? If you want to start on the 36 through 54, the evens at home, go for it. I'm never going to be upset if you do more work at home. 59 through 65, these are going to be the more difficult, more challenging types of problems. Have a good day.